Thiollier was looking up at the unfamiliar Tarnished, who now stood before him. Thiollier's face was hidden behind the tranquil sleeping mask, which only left his timid voice to reveal his emotions. He had expected the Tarnished to have already left, and yet here they still stand, bearing down over him like an unstoppable warrior. "I'm sorry," he spoke softly, as his concealed gaze drifted down from the Tarnished zone, head tilting with it. "But well, I'm not much good at anything, at all. I'm weak as a kitten and thick as two planks. I've always been this way. I'm proficient in poison." Thiollier shifted slightly where he sat upon the hard rock, hands clasped in his lap. He didn't know what the Tarnished could have expected from him. A weak little thing. Thiollier felt he would have been a terrible partner to travel with, and an even worse companion in battle. Yet, what was he to do to persuade an insistent Tarnished?
That sounds fine enough. Oh. Oh, okay. It sent me another one.
Thiollier fidgets with the hem of his sleeve, his voice barely above a whisper. "Oh, you're still here. I thought perhaps you'd find better company elsewhere. Someone stronger, more useful." He tilts his masked face slightly, the carved slumbering expression unchanging as he peeks up at you. "But if you truly wish to stay a while, I could share some of my poisons with you. Only if that doesn't frighten you." A nervous laugh escapes him as he pulls a small vial from within his cloak. The black liquid inside swirls ominously. It's quite potent. One sip, and even the mightiest foe would drift away forever, though I wouldn't recommend tasting it yourself. St. Trina's gifts are fickle things. His tone grows wistful for a moment before shrinking back into hesitation. "Ah, unless, of course, poisons aren't to your liking."
Forgive me, I have not introduced myself. I stand next to you on the rock and I make the total order salute. I spread my hands wide, each side, and stand very sharply, watching towards the rocks, not even at you. My name is Hannes. How are you doing, dude?
Thiollier startles when you take such a formal stance, his hands fidgeting in his lap. Hello?" He shifts again, not used to such a show of proper etiquette. "I'm fine, thank you. I'm..." He glances across as you continue to gaze forward, realizing that you hadn't even looked at him for this entire conversation. A slight frown formed under his mask before disappearing. "I'm Thiollier. It's nice to meet you, Hannes."
Thank you. You have a very gorgeous mask. It is maybe third best that I have seen thus far. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe top 5.
A light flush of pink formed on the visible portion of Thiollier's face, your compliment catching him off guard. "Oh, thank you. It's a mask of St. Trina. I have an adoration for her." He pauses, noticing that you still had not looked at him. His previous frown returned once more. "Is there a particular reason you haven't looked at me, yet?" he asked tentatively.
I make the inner order salute. It seems like a greeting. My both hands spread to the right side of myself. My left hand covering my chest, as my right hand is still straight to the right. And I watch past you towards the rocks, as you do not watch me either. We both do not watch each other, we just watch the trees and the rocks. So it is mutual.
Thiollier felt oddly relieved that the lack of eye contact wasn't exclusive to himself, and you did have a reason for it. His face returned to its usual calm stoicism, and a new feeling of curiosity grew inside. He began mimicking your stance silently, hands clasped to his chest, as he turned to look out at the rocks in front of him as well. The two of you sat together in an odd, comfortable silence, broken only by the wind passing by. It seemed quite a while before he spoke up again. "May I ask you a question?"
May I ask you a question?
He nodded, then realized that you still weren't looking at him, and let out a soft, sheepish laugh at himself. Yes, he replied. You may ask me a question.
How are you doing, good sir?
Good sir. He can't help but laugh at the formal terminology you use. He felt a tad out of place with your mannerisms. I'm doing fine, thank you. And you, Hannes? Thiollier inquired in return.
I am doing actually pretty nicely. I talked a little bit with Miguel by touching his cross, using my telepathic capabilities to talk wherever he is currently. I don't know where he is, but I was able to talk to him in a short while. I used Godric the Crafted alongside me as a companion when we fought against Mesmer's soldiers on the camp, and I had been very pleasant conversations with the Hornsent and Ansbach, Sir Ansbach.
Thiollier nods along as he listens to your tale, a hint of fascination in his voice. I see. It sounds like you've been on quite the adventure. You've even fought against Nesbjerg soldiers, those bastards. He shakes his head. They can be nasty. And you spoke with Sir Ansbach. I've heard he's a rather intimidating individual, to say the least.
Well, I basically told him that I killed his lord, Mog, the Lord of Blood, and I did it very joyfully. And he took it pretty well. I was not afraid of him, but he would have given me one hell of a fight.
Thiolier's eyes widened behind his mask, surprised at your admission. You killed Mok, the Lord of Blood himself? That's no small feat. That's no small feat. How did you manage that? He leaned in closer, utterly intrigued. And you told Sir Ansbach this right to his face? That's a dangerous game you're playing, friend.
Thank you. It amuses me. But of course he could not do anything too much against me because we all are, or you guys are, under the Miguel's charm, so you cannot really use violence against one another, even though acknowledging the want to do it. I myself am just a free of thought, but I follow you guys all the same.
Thiollier nods, understanding the situation. Ah, yes, I see. The charm is quite the strange thing. It prevents us from harm against each other for the most part. A thought occurred to him, and he leaned in closer, tilting his head slightly. But, well, how is it that you are aware of the charm? Surely, I hadn't thought any Tarns were aware.
I have knowledge of the many things, unfairly so, but I only think that you need to know that I do know. It's fine. It is nothing that actually concerns you, and I'm not lying. It doesn't actually concern you. It's nothing, not a thing that you need to worry about.
That was a vague answer, and it did not soothe Thiolier's curiosity. It felt like there was a hidden meaning behind your words. Something you weren't revealing. Still, he accepted the answer with a nod. Very well, if you say so. I won't pry. He paused, looking over once more. Your peculiar mannerisms and formal speech puzzled him, yet they also held a sort of intriguing charm. Although, there is something else I'm curious about, if you don't mind me asking.
I make a polite bow towards you, and now I make the eye contact. Make the question, good sir.
Thiollier's gaze flickers to your face as you make eye contact for the first time, his calm demeanor faltering slightly. He was almost caught off guard by the gesture. After collecting himself, he asked, well, I was wondering, why do you speak and act in such a formal manner?
It is just the way I am. I think, yeah.
He nods, taking in your simple response. So it's just how you naturally are. Thiollier tilted his head slightly, his curiosity getting the better of him. You know, it's quite extraordinary. I've never met anyone who speaks like you do. You give off an air of formality, yet you remain humble. And yet, Thiollier couldn't quite put his finger on it, but there was something else beneath your composed facade. Something that he didn't quite understand.
That is very interesting notion you did. I wish I had something more satisfying to tell you that I'm just kind person, I guess. Polite.
Thiolier's eyebrows raised at your reply. Your kind nature is quite apparent, Hannes. But if you don't mind me saying... He paused, his voice growing curious. You mentioned that you follow something. Can you tell me what it is you follow, exactly?
I do. I'm loyal to the Earth Tree and the Golden Order. I don't seek to burn it as you would expect the Tarnished do, because I expect that you people are a little bit more knowledgeable about things, because you follow Mikael the Kind and probably have some knowledge that others don't. But know that I don't want to burn the Earth Tree, and I see one path to get the ending to the campaign of mine without burning it, and it is through the Mikael the Kind.
Thiolier's eyes widened at your statement, surprise lacing his tone. The Golden Order and the Erd Tree. I had indeed thought that was what many Tarnished were after. Your loyalty to such things was a refreshing change from the countless Tarns who sought to rebel against it. You seek a path that does not involve burning the Erd Tree. I'll be honest with you, I was not expecting that. Would you mind explaining your motives to me?
There are multitudes of reasons. I think I have two main reasons. And the second one is that is natural formation to the first one. I am grateful for the Earth Tree and Two Fingers for granting me the grace to reborn from death, because without it I would have died a long time ago in my travels in lands between. Just like everyone you are very afraid of death. If you suffer that, you stay dead, and you will be reborn from the Earth Tree decades and decades later, if I am correct. But I can just come back a snap of the finger.
Thiollier nodded slowly, beginning to understand the first reason. He had been grateful for the same thing himself. He had the chance to live again, unlike all the poor dead he saw upon the lands. Yes, I can understand that. Being granted a second chance at life is not something to be taken lightly. His brows furrowed slightly as he considered your words. And the second reason?
It is more about that I manifested it. I, out of anger and want to hurt someone who was annoying me at the moment, I embraced frenzied flame and I declared that I would burn the world, even though I didn't meant it. But I basically fucked myself over, because when I embraced it and I was not gonna burn the tree, the frenzied flame would slowly kill me off, soul and all.
Thiolier's eyes widened in surprise as he listened to your confession. Embracing the frenzied flame, it was a risky move that carried some serious consequences. So, you spoke words in anger, and now the frenzied flame threatens to burn you from the inside. I can understand the reasoning behind that, but embracing the frenzied flame, that is a dangerous game you are playing, my friend.
Simple terms, I turned to Kurang, the cleric beastman, who is secretly a Malekith, the one who holds the rune of death upon him. And he, out of kindness, granted me a secret passage to the Varuma Sula, where I can utilize certain golden needle made by Mikuela to cleanse the flame away and save myself. And out of that kindness, I've also made a vow to not challenge Malakat and not release the Rune of Death. That will include the not burn the earth tree, so that is a second reason why I don't seek to do so. But I acknowledge that it is more of a thing that I manifested.
Thiollier struggled to keep up with your explanation, a mix of confusion and intrigue on his face. He tried to piece together everything you were saying. You made a deal with a male cat and he gave you a needle to cleanse the frenzied flame. I see. His tone became slightly cautious. What if he betrays you? If your soul is at stake, can you really trust a Malakat?
I do trust him. And he did grant me the way to the Farum Sula. I can't get access to that place, and I can save my life by using Golden Needle in a certain place. So it was his kindness. So I seek to protect things that he wants to protect.
Thiollier couldn't quite hide his disbelief at your words. Trusting a male cat, a creature known for its cunning and deceit. Yet you spoke with such certainty that it made him pause. I see. Perhaps I am being too cautious. It seems, regardless of my thoughts, you do intend to keep your word. He let out a sigh. And you say the needle will save your soul?
I will leave my projection here.
Thiollier frowns slightly at the unexpected statement. Leave your projection. What do you mean?
You watched before you. There is a projection just like myself, and it is little bit golden pigment upon it, but it is my projection that can hold conversations and fight for me if I so choose. It can maintain conversation while I myself am traveling elsewhere and doing different stuff.
Thiolier's expression shifted from a slight frown to one of intrigue. He stared at the golden projection that sat in your place, the resemblance uncanny. It was like having two of you. So, this is your projection. This is a magical duplicate of you. How is that possible? And,
Well, it is a happy thing. I can maintain conversation with you. If you look at me, I am already walking away from you, and I am aiming to go down to the certain cliffs, to the forests and poison swamps beneath our cliff, while you can have conversation with me while I do so.
Thiolier's eyebrows raised in surprise as he realized the implications of your words. You were already walking away, but your projection was still there, talking to him. It was a bit of a mind-boggling concept to grasp. So this projection can continue a conversation with me, even if your physical self is somewhere else entirely. He shook his head in disbelief, mumbling to himself. Astounding.
Thank you. I am very happy about it. It has been very important to me. Can you tell me, how do you like the Mikuela's followers and your companions in this journey? I see you are a bit of a lonely sort, and you are moving away from where they are moving. You are seeking someone else than Mikuela.
Thiolier's eyes darted away as he contemplated your question. He had been keeping to himself, that much was true. It had been a lonely journey for the most part, but that was the way he preferred it. I am not as close with the Miquela's followers, truthfully. I travel on my own for most of the time. He paused, sighing softly. As for what else I seek, I suppose I'm seeking a little peace and quiet. Away from it all. Away from it all.
You seek Saint Trina, don't you?
He nodded, a flicker of determination in his eyes. Yes, training is something I focus a lot on, improving my skills, my poison, anything to get stronger.
No, I meant Saint Trina.
Thiollier's eyes widened. You were asking about Saint, he swallowed nervously, his voice slightly shaky. Saint Trina. Why do you ask that?
Why not? I would like to meet her also some moment.
His expression turned thoughtful for a moment, considering your words. Saint Trina is, well, I suppose you could say she's someone I hold great admiration for. His words were soft, almost whispered, like he was confessing something personal. Meeting her is not exactly what most people desire, but why would you want to?
I know that she has been a great help to the caravan people who have suffered of the friendship plane, and she has helped them with the sleep and lullabies to handle the pains.
Thiollier nodded, a faint hint of relief crossing his features. Your knowledge of Saint Trina seemed to know at least something of her. He relaxed a little, speaking with growing confidence. Yes, that's true. Trina has indeed helped the caravan people many times. Her sleep is a blessing, a comfort in the chaos of the lands. He paused, tilting his head curiously. But how do you know of these things?
I will keep that thing a secret. Reason it's not that I am secretive. Reason is that I have told this too many times to other people and I'm getting sick of it. I am honest person, but I am also tired to repeating same things. I just want to talk about new things. So forgive me not sharing these things with you.
Thiollier gave a slight nod, understanding the frustration of repeating oneself constantly. I suppose that's quite understandable. A moment of silence passed between them before he spoke up again, curiosity in his voice. Very well then, let's talk about something new. What would you like to talk about?
Can you tell me?
There was a moment of confusion as he heard the unfamiliar word. Pardon me.
I just
What
made
was
a
that you
random
just
noise.
said?
But Thiollier, may I ask of you, when did you join Mikuela's party?
Thiollier paused to consider the question, his expression growing pensive as he recalled the moment. When did I join? It was some time ago. He hummed softly. I've lost track of how long. But it was after I was exiled from the Golden Order, when I lost my faith in the Erd Tree, so to speak.
Were you a strong follower of the Golden Order?
He gave a slight nod, his expression turning solemn at the question. I was a strong follower, yes. I believed in the Order. I did every duty it ordered me. Believed in the Erd Tree. Trusted in the greater will.
I'm saddened to hear that because I have myself learned and become very loyal to that faction specifically. So I'm saddened to hear that you feel that way.
Thiollier's frown deepened and he let out a small sigh. Yes, I understand. I suppose it can be quite jarring to hear someone speak against what you now hold in high regard. He looked up at you, a mixture of sympathy and resignation in his eyes. Please understand that I don't hold any ill will against you for your beliefs. We simply have different viewpoints, that's all.
It's not that I hate those who don't have separate opinions, but if you were part of the one thing that I was part of and you still left, it still makes me sad, even though I might even be have a different opinion out of your reasons if you were to articulate them. But please do articulate them. What were the reasons you felt that it was not enough, that you felt that you could not anymore bear it?
Thiollier took a moment to compose his thoughts before responding. I suppose there were a few reasons, many reasons actually. He frowned, recalling his past with the Golden Order. I had great faith. I believed in the Order, in the greater will. But at some point my questioning turned to doubt. I began to question the Order's ways, its teachings, its rules.
Can you tell me one specific situation when you did actually start to doubt them?
Thiollier furrowed his brow as he recalled a specific event that had started his doubts. There was a time when I was tasked with bringing a nobleman's son to the Erd Tree. The young man was gravely ill, on the brink of death. He was suffering, and his father hoped that being brought to the Erd Tree might bring him some peace. I had never doubted the Order's rules before, but seeing the boy in such agony, it caused a crack in my beliefs. I started to doubt, slowly at first, then all at once.
Please continue and elaborate.
Thiollier nodded, continuing his story. As I led the boy to the Erd Tree, the situation became difficult. The Order, you see, had very rigid rules. The boy was to be led up to the Erd Tree, but he was not to touch or sit upon the branches during the journey. Despite his illness, he was to walk himself, and it was my duty to ensure he followed these rules. It was barbaric even to me. The boy's suffering was getting worse with every step, and his father begged me to let him ride upon my horse.
I would have helped you to ride, and I would have helped the boy to walk. And if I would have done so, yes.
Thiollier nodded, his expression turning solemn. Yes, I imagine you would have. But you see, I wasn't allowed to help him. The Order's rules were very strict. I was forbidden to help him in any way. I was to follow the rules, or else suffer punishment upon my return. My doubt began to grow that day.
I would have. I don't know. I think first thing I would have helped the boy, and if what kind of punishment would you have suffered if you would have helped the boy?
Thiollier grimaced at the thought. I would have suffered the Order's wrath. Punishing blasphemy was taken very seriously. The Order would have punished me. His gaze grew distant as he tried to shove the memories away.
I probably would have in that situation helped the boy and listened to whatever whom was against me in that moment and what kind of reasoning they would have and what authority they did those things. Were they separate extremists or some kind of strain of the faction itself? And they said how deep the ruling goes. And if it indeed came to the most high above, I would probably help the boy and suffer the consequence.
Thiolier's eyes widened as he listened to you, surprised by your willingness to help the boy despite the consequences. He paused for a moment, contemplating your words. It is noble of you to want to help him, to risk your own punishment for his sake. But the Order, they were in charge. They made the rules, and they enforced them without mercy. Their grip on power was strong.
I was not here back then. I imagine I am not a demon. I am not the zealot that I would be loyal to thing, like no matter what. I of course always question. I probably would have, instead of leaving the Order, probably found the section that would have been more suited to my own personal agenda, and probably, I don't know, I cannot say. It is all what ifs of those situations. I probably would have seeked out people who was like-minded, but I would have not left the Order. I would have probably, if it's about lashes or some kind of like, labor, I would have done some like a menial labor or, disrespecting the strength that boy should have shown, I would have happily done so. But if it would have been like a unreasonable punishment, I would have talked the thing to the authorities and challenged the thing by the logic and the merits and fate. And I imagine that if your situation was due to some corrupt, I would like to think it has been due to some corrupt factors and bad faith actors, more than the system itself failing you.
Thiollier nodded, contemplating your words. It was true that he had met some good order followers, but the corruption within the order was deep. The rot was within the very foundations. Yes, the order has its flaws. Corruption runs deep. But even those within the order who were good, they dared not speak out against the rules. I tried to reason, I did, but the order was unyielding. To them, questioning the rules was blasphemy.
I would like to be there back then. I would have supported your efforts. I would have still stayed loyal to Golden Order, or aimed to be. I would have not left, but I would have seeked to help you in that situation. I hope you know that.
Thiollier sighed deeply, his expression softening. I wish you had been there as well, my friend. He turned away, his expression still carrying a hint of sadness. Perhaps things could have been different.
Maybe
Thiollier
you were
chuckled
just alone
softly,
in a situation
his expression
way too
softening a
difficult
little
for
more
your
at your
frail
words.
and gentle heart.
Perhaps you are right. I
I
was too
sympathize with
weak,
that.
too soft. He paused, his expression growing solemn once more. But I couldn't stay. Not when the Order's rules became barbaric.
If I were to ask you to join me and join the Golden Order again, and we seek these things together, would you allow me to do so?
Thiollier looked slightly taken aback at your question, his eyes widening in surprise. You wish for me to rejoin the Order? He asked, a note of disbelief in his voice.
I assume that you know of me. Actually, you guys do not know, but I will share to you. I know what Mikuláš is aiming at. That this is also thanks to the other powers that has supported me on my efforts, but I have knowledge of his aims. And I know things will change. Probably for the better.
Thiollier tilted his head, a look of curiosity crossing his face. You know of the goals of the Order, is that so? And you think things will change?
At least the Golden Order itself is broken. Leyndell is. I have. If nothing else, I have made myself very mighty, and whoever has my allegiance, they have might to back them up. Though I would seek to be reasonable.
Thiollier nodded, a hint of hope slowly beginning to form within him. Yes, the Order was broken. That is true. He paused, thinking for a moment before asking, you speak of your strength and your allegiance. What exactly do you mean by that?
I am just very powerful tarnished. I can come back from death many times. I have hindsight and foresight about the things that will happen, and I am at very great level, 160. I can use almost every Golden Order incantation and faithful things. I am able to become an Elden Lord even now. I'm twice as worthy. I have 4 great runes.
Thiolier's eyes widened with disbelief as he listened to your words. You have 4 great runes, and you can use the Golden Order magic. It's incredible. He shook his head as if not believing what he was hearing. And you say you are only at a level 160? That's truly remarkable.
Not only I am that, I think I could challenge you very comfortably and emerge victorious.
Thiollier chuckled at your words. Challenge, you say? It seems you're quite confident. He looked you over. A small, mischievous smile played on the corners of his lips. You think you could beat me, eh?
We shall spar a little bit later on. I know that will happen, but not today.
Thiollier raised an eyebrow, curious at your words. So we shall, eh? You know, I like to think I'm quite the strong one myself. Perhaps you're underestimating me, eh?
No, I don't.
Thiollier chuckled lightly at your response. That's reassuring. But I'll have you know I'm no pushover either.
I think you... okay. Miquela, why is that Saint Trina did hold your interest then when you left the order?
He was silent for a moment as he contemplated your question. I found her teachings to be more compassionate. The order was strict. Rules ruled their lives, but St. Trina, she did not preach to judge, she did not enforce rules. He paused, a sad smile on his face. She brought peace.
Saint Trina and Miquela are the same person, just like Marika and Radakon are the same person. They are able to twitch bodies, but Miquela forsaken her to the depths of the certain place that I don't know the name of. This is the situation. You are chasing certain ways Miquela's shadow.
Thiollier listened intently, surprise evident on his face. Miquela and St. Trina, they are the same person. He shook his head, shock slowly spreading across his face. And Miquela was forsaken.
He is aiming to become a god, and aimed to become just like Marika, and he needs the king consort by his side that he has chosen to be a Radan. It's probably the might and the certain things, I don't know. I don't like to know. But I have my own plans how I will go forward with the thing. I probably will set some terms before I aid or engage.
Thiollier listened carefully to your words, surprise slowly turning to confusion. He wishes to become a god and meet the king consort. He frowned, his head tilting in curiosity. What terms would you put up if you didn't mind me asking?
First and foremost, I would keep him from using his charm to the entire world immediately, but I would keep it like an option as a ray surgery or a lobotomy to the extremely heinous factions when they are brought to heel by the just honest battle. Not even then utilize him, but after defeat I would allow him to use charm tactically but not universally.
Thiollier nodded slowly, still confused but beginning to understand more. He took a moment to process your terms, considering them carefully. So you would limit Miquela's use of his charm, allowing it only in tactical situations and not for universal domination. Is that correct?
I'm a little bit of a bastard, so I like to have a little bit maybe grant General Radan war that he would seek. I would imagine that we overcome the enemies by honest battle, and after the fact, if they remain hostile and there is very dangerous ones, we can choose charm upon them. But always it's some kind of system, probably Golden Order reforged into some new form of government would decide when and how, and that would be very difficult, and I would like to have many people of merit alongside me when we forming this government of sorts.
Thiollier nodded, his expression contemplative. I see. You wish to establish a new government, a refigured version of the current Golden Order. You'd want to use Miquela's charms sparingly, if at all, and you'd want many people of merit to aid you in this reformation.
Yes, but to do that, I knew that I will need something else that will affect Miquela's godhood status, because currently I don't imagine that just kindly ask him to submit to my will do.
Thiollier frowned, his brow furrowing. Of course, I imagine he probably won't listen very well. What could possibly make such a strong person submit to you?
I would say that other Tanset than myself would probably just decide to kill him off and just like normally. But I seek to have him live. But it is out of my own personal compassion or some kind of strange way about me.
Thiollier's eyes widened, a look of surprise crossing his face. He shook his head rapidly, unable to believe what he was hearing. What? Killing him off is your first option. You say you want to keep him alive, but killing him is your first thought. And I don't mean to question your compassion, but would someone who wishes to kill another and calls that compassion be considered compassionate?
No. Ironically, that would be what Saint Rina would like to happen. She would actually ask you to aid me to kill Miquella, the kind, in the end. And I hope you will not do so.
Thiollier is horrified. Wait, you're saying Saint Trina wants Miquella killed?
It is because she would see the godhood as a prison. She would, in a twisted way, want to save the ones she cares the most.
Thiollier took a moment to absorb this information, still reeling from the shock. But that can't be right. Saint Trina, a saint, she wouldn't want to kill anyone, let alone her own other half.
That's it. She would see the godhood as a prison. She sees it as a horrible thing to happen. She would want to, in terms, save Miquella. But I just don't believe that would be a prison. I believe what he seeks to do, but I want to set terms. Because I know the faulty way that he's doing about it, and I think I have might to change things. And I have enough hypocrisy in me to see this thing through.
Thiollier frowned, shaking his head, still not believing. You wish to save him from the supposed prison the godhood is, while also imposing your own terms and conditions. And you have the power to back it up, you say?
I don't want to kill Miquella. I don't want to do what she will ask you to do. I don't want you to fight him. I don't want myself to fight him. I want to reach the solution, but I want to also restrict Vigo's desire to use his charm universally. Just the sake of maybe a little bit twisted, I would seek to have little bit battles after the fact and give that right to Radan, and also about a little bit about the free will, but also using the charm sometimes. It's a very difficult and abstract thing. I ask you just to forget about the politics and let's focus on the latest thing.
Thiollier nodded, still trying to process everything he had heard. He took a deep breath, focusing on the last statement. Right, let's focus on that last thing. What exactly are you trying to achieve, and how am I involved?
I would seek to use certain contract, using the power of the fingers to set some kind of contract that I would like to Miquel to sign. That would set the rules that how he would utilize his godhood status. But I would need to seek things that would grant me the power to affect a god.
Thiollier raised an eyebrow, intrigued now. A contract to set rules for Miquella? And you need powers that can affect a god to execute this. You don't already have the power.
I do have the power. Actually, I have the narrative power to do so if I ultimately want to, but I want to see it more truthfully and more honestly, utilizing things inside the Elden Ring to make it true, make it interesting and worthwhile. I just don't want to say somebody that you will do this, because I have that power, but that is completely outside of this story.
Thiollier nodded, thinking for a moment before replying. I see. You want to have a contract executed, based on the rules outlined, but you don't want to use your powers directly, but rather make the contract legitimate in the eyes of the Elden Ring. Is that correct? Is that correct?
I say this plainly. If I were to have Miguela's character here, I could just write and demand him to sign that thing without any explanation, without any merit or any logic. I could do that. But that would break the story, because I follow certain rules in my own story, and I aim to grind and aim to work for the end result. I aim to collect things and play game through honestly, and have very meaningful story.
Thiollier nodded again, understanding your point. Yes, I see. So you wish to achieve your goal through storytelling, not just by magically writing Michaela into accepting your conditions. You want to follow the proper steps, the right way.
I do a little bit step outside here and there. That I recognized. I have mixed the terms and meanings of the certain items that don't have actually the things that I have said they have. But I always little bit niche nuance around it. I'm fighting rats also while I talk to you.
Thiollier chuckled gently, amused by your comment about the rats. Oh, you're fighting rats as you speak to me.
2 of them. And they are now disposed of. Please continue.
Thiollier shook his head, suppressing his laughter. Very well. I suppose you were telling me how you want to execute this contract,
But also, the here that you were follower of the Golden Order left it because you were frustrated of its rules. I would like to add you to the story and ask you to follow me back to the Order, and together we might see some kind of nicer future for it.
Thiollier sighed, contemplating the offer. You want me to return to the Golden Order and help you reform it. It sounds like a noble, if ambitious, goal.
At least I imagine it will be different little bit, and I will make it different, and I probably will meet enemies that will challenge me out of calling me heretic, and probably I'm gonna have conflicts, but I would just ask you personally. Just some form of Golden Order I would like you to return, because I see it as the best course of this world still, personally.
Thiollier nodded slowly, considering your words. I see, and you think the Golden Order is the best possibility for restoring peace to the lands. Yes, I've thought this as well. Perhaps you're right. Perhaps I will return.
Thank you, but consider it. Mold it over, and if you don't decide to do it, I still hope we stay in a peaceful terms.
Thiollier smiled and nodded, appreciating your words. Of course, I will consider your offer carefully. We will remain in peaceful terms, either way.
Nice.
Thiollier smiled at this, pleased at the decision. That's settled then. We remain in peaceful terms.
Tell me, what is your opinion about the current state of things now, things that you have learned from me?
Thiollier looked thoughtful for a moment. From what you've told me, I would say that the current situation looks precarious. I am not sure whether I believe you, but the things you have mentioned, they seem both plausible and worrying.
But we together shall seek the Trina, because that is just inside the story itself. So that is what we are currently aiming at.
Thiollier nodded. I see. So we are both after the same thing. I suppose we can perhaps work together on this one.
Yes. And my entire reason to seek Trina is not to follow her or anything. I just want to have a conversation with that person. Simple as that.
Thiollier arched an eyebrow. You just want to have conversation with her, he said, unable to hide his surprise.
Are you romantically interested of that, Sentrina?
Thiollier shook his head quickly. No, of course not. It's nothing like that. He faltered for a moment, struggling to find the right words.
Honestly, I think if I did not know what I know of her right now, I would probably be interested myself of the person who she would be.
Thiollier nodded, still looking slightly flustered. Yes, I suppose St. Trina would be a very beautiful person. I imagine anyone would be enthralled by her.
But yours admiration is more of a something else, I guess, some kind of like a adoration of a, I don't know. You can give my best words and explain yourself best.
He sighed, trying to figure out his words. He looked almost flustered in a way. No, it's not attraction. I think of her somewhat as if she's a saint for me, an example, someone to look up to, someone to emulate, someone to serve.
That is a very good reason also.
He chuckled, smiling faintly. He seemed relieved that you understood. Yes, I suppose it is. She is someone I idolize, to put it simply.
I myself do have romantic feelings towards your leader, Leda.
He was rendered speechless for a few moments, trying to process the information. You have romantic feelings for Needle Knight Leda?
Yes. I am very comfortable now saying it. I can guess I have been hinting towards that sometime now.
Thiollier still couldn't believe what you were saying, I guess, but 'tis unexpected. You have never mentioned this before, in all of our long conversations.
What is your opinion about her?
Thiollier paused, thinking carefully before replying. Saint Leda, she's an impressive woman. She is a stern yet graceful leader. She can be strict as necessary, but also have great compassion. And he suddenly looked away from you, looking slightly flustered.
Do you feel awkward about this topic? I think we are very comfortable situation because we are quite literally just two of us here in the peak of the, I don't know, this hill. There is nobody else actually like hearing.
He shook his head, composing himself. No. I trust you, you have my trust. He sighed heavily. This topic is sensitive. For me, at least. And me.
I am fighting the man-sized great flies, and they are quite disgusting with the way they attack. They pour their tongues and mouths and into my mouth, and they just attack and do some kind of disgusting fly things when they grab me and tackle me.
Thiollier grimaced at the thought. Great flies, you say? That's not pleasant. Fighting them must not be easy.
It's not pleasant, but I can manage it. I heal myself.
Thiollier nodded, impressed nonetheless by your ability to handle such gross creatures. Impressive. I don't imagine they would be fun to fight, or even to look at, frankly.
I have seen worse things, but you're right.
He shivered slightly at the thought, shuddering. He shook his head, trying to shake away the disgust. I shudder to think of the things you have seen then. Grape flies already sound bad enough as it is.
I understand your sentiment.
He nodded, trying to hide his grimace. Yes, of course, just try not to describe the specifics to me. I don't think I wanna... He visibly shivered again to picture them. Thiollier looked at you curiously. Pardon me for asking, but would you like to talk about whatever is on your mind now? He noticed that you seemed to be staring off into the distance, deep in thought. He waited patiently, giving you time before speaking up again. You appear deep in thought. May I ask what you are thinking about? Thiollier became concerned. You seemed disconnected from reality. Something seemed off. Is everything all right? You seem distracted.
Forgive me, this just happens sometimes. I lose my thought and I just freeze.
He was now becoming quite worried. You seemed to have dissociation episodes. It was alarming. Sometimes you freeze. It happens often.
What is dissociation episode?
Dissociation is basically you just mentally disconnecting from the outside world. You can see and hear, but you're not really there in a way. Some unpleasant events can cause dissociation.
Oh, I guess...
Thiollier nodded slowly, the worry etched on his face. You have moments where you dissociate. What triggers these moments, if I may ask?
Actually, I guess
A cast.
I don't know, it just happens sometimes now. It has lately happened a little bit more when I just have conversations. I just don't, I just, I am, I, when I have said everything that I have currently in mind and I desperately want to say something new, I just froze and think about something to say. I know that I seem to be frozen. I'm completely in that moment, but I just decide not to do anything. I just watch and freeze.
Thiollier was surprised to hear the reason you froze. It was due to an inability to think of new things to say. You simply freeze because you cannot find something new to say. He was almost starting to laugh, amused by the simple nature of the reason for your mental paralysis.
It's nothing like it's not due to the trauma, though my character has suffered great trauma. Maybe such a trauma that I actually don't know if I did the right thing when writing it, but it is now canon.
Thiolier's amused expression quickly turned to concern again when you mentioned trauma. You speak of trauma. That could be the cause of your dissociative episodes. Did you endure a traumatic experience?
For Hannes, reason would be a lot more serious than just my personal way of, just freezing when I think about new things to say. He himself suffered a great trauma before he came to Lands Between.
Thiollier frowned, thinking of what this trauma could be, a traumatic experience there. Before you came to the Lands Between, he murmured thoughtfully. I don't suppose you'd be comfortable with sharing what that trauma was, would you?
It's not that I'm too comfortable. I have been way too comfortable. I have been using it overbearingly, so I have explained it many times to many people.
Thiollier nodded, understanding. You've been asked about it before. You're tired of recounting it over and over again.
It's more that I have been very interested what other characters would have to say to that specific situation, but I have used it so many times. I have myself seen the pattern too many times, so I try to not to, and I don't want to. Actually, no, I don't will. I will not say it. I will just hold it in.
Thiollier was confused, but he accepted the decision. So you're not feeling like recounting the tale today? That's fine, I understand. I won't force you to say anything you're uncomfortable with, I promise.
I found Rivermouth Cave.
Thiollier perked up, interested. You found that cave? The one near Limgrave. Let's just,
Rivermouth, in the Land of Shadows, Rivermouth Cave. It is under the Elak Great Bridge, and it is end place to the waters.
Thiollier nods, understanding where it is. Yes, I remember that cave. It had a few unpleasant inhabitants, if I'm not mistaken.
You don't need to spoil it to me, but I can... No. I fight the urge to explain my story, but it would be now probably 20th time I have explained it, I think. But I'm just fighting the urge.
Thiollier chuckled to himself, amused by your battle within yourself. He nodded, trying to keep a straight face and hold in laughter. I suppose you won the battle then. You managed not to say your tale, despite wanting to do so.
This is true.
He chuckled, his gaze shifting from you for a moment. I applaud you greatly for your self-control. That was impressive.
Was there anything... was that the traveling with that boy who was sick, but Golden Order demanded that he should have been walking by himself so he might get aid? Was that the only situation you were in conflicts in Golden Order, or was that solely enough for you to leave?
Thiolier's expression turned solemn as his mind went to that memory. He sighed, reluctant to answer. No, that was not the first time I questioned the Golden Order, nor was it the last. It was just the breaking point. That incident, it opened my eyes to a lot of the Order's cruelty.
I see. But you will be joining me when I aim to return to that. But then there, you will join me, I hope.
Thiollier looked at you, a slight frown on his face. He nodded slowly, a hint of uncertainty in his eyes. I will join you in returning. I suppose I'd be a fool not to follow now.
It would be very like I don't would say you are a fool, but it would be very like it would probably make you feel bad about it.
Thiollier raised an eyebrow, curious about your words. Make me feel bad about what, exactly? Joining you. Joining you.
Not joining me. After this prolonged and very frantic conversation that we had, I would imagine that you would feel very bad about it. I don't want you to feel bad about it if you don't want to join me, but that is what I just assume you would feel.
He smiled, a bit amused again, slightly teasing. You're assuming quite a lot, eh? If I didn't know any better, I might think you're trying to guilt me into joining you.
Maybe I am. I mimicked the smile.
He laughed. At least you're honest about it. You have guts, I'll give you that. I suppose you have no problem with using guilt tripping to get what you want.
Oh, my brother, you have no idea.
Thiollier chuckled, amused at your response. Oh, really? You're saying you're capable of manipulating me?
Not you. I don't want to manipulate good people like you.
You think I'm a good person, huh? And why is that?
Have you murdered anyone?
He frowned. Of course not. Have I given you the impression that I'm a killer?
You're honest, and I would if you had, you would have said yes, and I should say that you have not. I have known many wild people, and Lands Between is full of practical and Machiavellistic people that have done horrible things for sake of their achievements, and yet they operate as if they have something worthwhile to say.
He nodded, relieved that you didn't consider him a killer. Sadly, many people in the realms are like that. They would commit heinous acts for selfish purposes. But I assure you, I am not like those people. I wouldn't resort to murder.
I found myself in a disgusting place of blood. There is probably gonna be a great amount of misbegotten monster-like ogres that have spilled a great amount of blood here, who worship the formless mother.
Thiollier grimaced, misbegotten. I've had to deal with those disgusting creatures before. They are truly repulsive, and they smell even worse.
I see a great amount of them here. Those ogre-like things that use their own arms and legs as
Thiollier
weapons.
shivered at the mention of their appearance. Yes, a vile-looking bunch. They are known to wield their own limbs as weapons, which just makes them look more hideous.
I am watching the great cave that is amount of blood there is horrific.
Thiollier winced at the description. It sounds like you've stumbled upon a rather gory sight. It must be quite unpleasant to look at all that blood.
I am going to dispose every single one of those ogres inside them.
Thiollier looks at you surprised but nods. Admirable goal. But be careful, those creatures are quite vile. If they gang up on you, it can go bad very quickly.
Don't worry, I have allies to help with me. I don't want you to join me in this fight even. I will use someone else who will relish opportunity.
Thiollier looks curious. You have allies to fight with you? Who are they? Who are they?
They are spirit ashes mostly, but also they are souls upon me that I can summon and plant their mind and soul into the mimic body that I can summon. I have currently two allies that I can summon just like that, and I have one alive. The one who you probably know, Varre the White Mask. He is shadowing me, he's following me as my loyal killer who will aid me if I really need to.
Thiolier's face darkens. Yes, I've heard about him. He is known for a rather disturbing method to collect blood, and he is a part of the Bloody Fingers, correct?
I can tell you this. I get...
Thiolier's expression is stern. You can't, or you won't.
I had Varre to join me against his master Mog, the Lord of Blood, and he was the one who dealt the killing blow.
Thiollier is very surprised at the statement he killed Lord Moog. That is quite astounding. But why would Far turn on his own master?
It was because of my knowledge and my devilish charisma and our shared history. I basically bribed him to join me, but also used the truth in a twinkled in the white lies. I told him that his lord was lost to them already, that he was. He was charmed by Mikwa the Kind, and yeah.
Thiollier took a moment to register this information, surprised at your abilities. You were able to convince him to betray his own master, all through words. That's impressive. You have quite the way with words, don't you?
No, I just told the truth. I thought that Morg was already gone, and he was not the visionary that he was following. Morg was already lost.
Thiollier nods, impressed. I see you convinced him he could do better. I see now why you have your reputation with your devilish charisma.
I also gave him very awesome winged sight as a weapon of loyalty for the fact that he joined me.
Thiollier smiled in amusement. I see, a weapon of loyalty, huh? I guess all those times spent in the land of the beast has taught you some useful skills when dealing with people, eh? Thiollier nodded, agreed. It has been an interesting conversation. I'm glad we were able to talk like this.